Alright, so welcome to the part number 3 on this series, and on this one we are going to talk about envelopes. So of course I'm going to start from a default patch, and notice that on the algorithms we are on the number 1, and we are just using the operator number 1 for now. Okay, so we already know how all of this works, you know, all the magic behind the scenes, and cool, right? Of course, we still need to talk about the global one, but this is something not very particular to each operator. This is something global. Yeah, this is a global section, so we're going to talk about that later. So for now, we're going to go to the envelopes. So the envelopes is a much more kind of a detailed place where we can go and modify the envelopes, the same envelopes we get right here, but you get much more control and a few more features. So for now, I'm just going to go to the operator number 1, and I'm going to go all the way up on the operator number 2. So now, of course, we know how it sounds. Now, every time that you hover on one of these operators, you're going to get, you know, right here, the instruction of what the envelope is doing. So if I go to the number 1, to the number 2 maybe, and then change something, notice that we can easily see what's going on between the 1 and the 2, because we know that the envelopes will just radically change the sound of the synthesizer, right? We really know this. Now, the cool thing with the operators, and for now I'm just going to go to the number 2, and maybe do a saw, something like that, maybe like that. And I'm going to go back to the envelopes. And of course, now if I play something, we get something else. Of course, we know now that with the MSEG, we can go really crazy on the envelope. So maybe I'm going to go right here, do something very mild. So that's the sound. And then I'm going to go right here and do something crazy, something like, something like that. So, of course, we know we can go crazy on this one. And now, of course, notice that the green one is at the back. So we know the relationship between this crazy envelope, and we can hear that it will really affect the sound. Right. So this is what you get all this panel. So you can easily see what's the relationship between this envelope and the other one, because it changes the sound. Okay. So pretty simple stuff. I don't want to, expand this a lot more because it's very easy to understand. We have other features on this one. Notice at the very top that you get right here options. Now, most of the times when you build sounds with this one, with operators and carriers, modulators and carriers, you're just going to use the common waveforms. You're not going to go common envelopes. You're not going to use the crazy envelopes unless, of course, you want to do something crazy. So that's why right here you get kind of a template, so you can start, very easily. And this is, the most common envelope, let's say. And you get all the ones like a triangle, and you get a crazy one like this one. Again, you just get, very common envelopes, maybe something like this. This is something that you will use the whole time, but you also maybe get this one. All right, so cool. So now I'm gonna go maybe to this one, so we can really hear what's going on. I'm gonna leave it like this. Okay. So now we know that the operator number 2, which is the modulator of the carrier, the number 1, it's doing kind of something crazy, right? Okay. So you have other options right here. Notice that you get other options, and you get the keyboard rate scaling and the rate multiplier. So this is an envelope, and every time that we do something, notice it will go. All right. So right here at the top, you can decide how fast this goes, because again, it's going from 0 to all the different places, and then maybe staying at sustain, and then the release. Also, you can do a loop. And notice that you get 16 points by default, right? That's the max you can go. So when you go and loop it, it will just go and create a loop between the 1 and the 14 in this case. And notice it's going when I hold a key. Now, of course, the life cycle of the number 1 is done because I'm pressing and holding. So it starts right here, go there, and then stays at sustain. But the other one is looping. And we get a different sound, of course. And that's why we get the rate multiplier. We can decide, of course, if we want to go slower or we're going to go faster. Let me press a different key. Yeah. All right, let me go a little bit higher in the volume. Right, so that's why you get the rate multiplier. Then, of course, you can loop different parts. So maybe the first time is not going to loop everything. It's going to go one shot, and then when it restarts, it's going to loop maybe half. Right. So then you get the keyboard rate scaling, and this one, let me see how I can show you this. I'm going to go really slow, right? I'm going to go really slow. I'm going to disable the loop, or maybe just loop everything. I'm going to go maybe here, and I'm going to go really slow, and we can see right here, going really slow and then starts over. It's very slow. Okay. So the keyboard rate scaling is something that you get right here. Maybe you're going to talk about this view a little bit more much later. For now, I'm just going to go and use this one. So what this basically does, it will convert the keys. It will let you use the keys to decide the rate or the speed. So right now at 0, it means that if I play a low key, it will go that speed. And if I play a high key, it will play the same speed. It will go at the same speed, same rate. But if I go, on different volumes, you get 7. It's like the, the level. The lower keys are going to go at one speed, and the higher keys are going to go much faster. Notice that the low keys go slower, and the high keys go super fast, or maybe not, a bit fast, let's say. And the low keys, slower. So this is what the keyboard rail scaling will do. It will just, low keys go slower, higher keys go faster. That's pretty much what it does. Just going to change, how the rate works. Now I'm going to go back to the normal speed. And of course, we get that. Now another thing that you can do, notice that you get a sync right here. So when you sync it, it will change how the envelope works. And you also get a difference into the different shapes or the different envelopes that you can use. Notice that you get some other ones. And this one, what it will do, since you are going to be using this on maybe on a track, you can create a grid kind of a behavior, and you can sync it to, again, your DAW. So right here, you can create breakpoints, and notice it will kind of snap to grid right here. So if you have, of course, you need to create a sound and the movement needs to sync with your track, now it just gets easier because you have a grid and you have a snap. And of course, you can go here or maybe select different. Notice that we get a pattern. It's not crazy as the other one, And of course, you can change the grid length or resolution in this case. Pretty simple, again, to understand. And but again, notice that the change from here, the difference from here to here is that right here you get a much more kind of a detailed and a lot more control, and you can tweak a lot more. And this is again one of the main aspects of FM synthesis, that you have control of a lot of things. All right. So again, right here at the top, you get the MSG. And I say MSG because it's Madison Square Garden. I'm a Knicks fan, so it's just in my brain is MSEG. Notice again, you get some other ones. And if I go to the DX7, this is the one that you get on the DX7. This is just like, a regular ass kind of a envelope. Just a regular ass envelope. That's what you get. Super simple. Right, of course, it's, again, remember the DX7, it came on the 80, so you cannot, ask for more. But it's nice that they give you the option of using this. Then you get another one, which is the ADSR. So this is a common, kind of a ADSR, but you get the D at the beginning. And the D stands for delay. Is delay, attack, decay, sustain, and release. And this is pretty much what it does, is that, of course, you can do your attack, your sustain, and the release as well. But you can do a delay. So if you press a key, it will delay, the starting point, and then it will just, follow the motion. In this case, it's just super long, so I'm going to go to something that makes sense. It will delay the execution, and at one point, it will go and do the envelope. And notice the distance will, of course, affect the speed. All right. At the end of the day, if you ask me which one I prefer to use, well, of course, this one. You can do crazy stuff, but you can do simple stuff, and you get a lot of control. If you want to sync it, you can sync it. If you don't want to, you can get whatever you want. And if you want to change it, you can create a different point and then use linear or exponential right here. So it's just a much, kind of a dynamic and, just a much better envelope. Okay, so I'm going to go to default again. I'm going to go start to default. And I'm going to go to the operator number 2, and I'm just going to, again, just play something. And now I need to, ask yourself when you started to on the section number 1. We are now in the section number 3, which is not a lot of videos. And you could have learned how all of this works. And it was not that hard, right? It's challenging, looks challenging, but it's just very simple to understand. You get a sound, an oscillator, an envelope, and then you just blend. And that's it. So that's how it works. So, okay. So, of course, you get all of this and all the looping and, all the different envelopes, and that's cool. But you get all the things. For example, you get an envelope and on this, of course, on this synthesizer for the pitch. Now, of course, this is a global envelope. So whatever you do right here will modulate or will affect all the operators because it's a global envelope. And this envelope, it's just like the other ones. It's just pretty much the same. You get the same things, but this what will do, it will modulate the pitch. Yeah, you get something like that. I'm going to just do something like that. Yeah. It's just going to go and modulate the pitch. That's what you get. Now, of course, this is global. It's affecting all the operators. The 1 and the 2 and the 3 and whatever it is that you're using, it's just going to go and do it. Now, of course, this envelope can be controlled with all the other options, but maybe this is too aggressive, right? You just want to do maybe a little bit of this. So right here, you get the pitch EG, which is kind of like a blend for this pitch envelope. So if I go all the way down, it's just not going to do it. If I do a little bit, it's going to start doing it, but it will do it. And notice that you get a percentage right here. So, so again, you get to control this right here. Now, of course, sometimes when you're using a lot of operators, it really sucks that you maybe want to use the pitch envelope and it's doing all at the same, all at once. Because maybe I just want to do a pitch on the number 1 and not on the modulator. I just want to do the carrier, just maybe a tiny bit. Let me just go back to the pitch and go to, I don't know, something simple, something like that. I just want to do the pitch, right? So that's what I want. So I'm gonna go maybe here, maybe there. Just gonna do something dumb. I don't know, something like that, whatever. All right, something dumb. So I don't want to do it on all the oscillators. I just want to do it to the number 1. Okay. So if I go here, notice that you get pitch EG. So you can disable this. If I go and turn this off and turn this off, you don't get it. It doesn't matter that you're doing 100% and you have a value, an envelope. It's just not going to do it. You're just turning that option up. Now, if I go to the number 1 and turn it on, you get it, but not to the operator number 2. So and if I go to the operator number 2 and enable it, we are back to that pitch. And maybe if I do it, I turn it off on the number 1, you're getting a different sound again. So every decision, every option that you turn off and you turn on the modulator and the carrier will maybe, of course, change the sound radically. That's why you need to learn what, everything is. Well, that's why it's so important. Okay. So we're done with the envelopes. It was just not that hard. Now, of course, notice that you get one more envelope, which is the mod and the mod 1 and mod 2. And it's because, of course, you can go to mods, which is the modulation section, and you have a modulation matrix, an LFO, blah, 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 and you can use an envelope as a modulator. Let's say I want to connect an envelope that I'm going to be, doing right here, or maybe here. Notice that it's the same. Right? They're just connected because they're the same envelope. And this envelope will just, go to the filter of the operator number 1, and it will do that envelope on the cutoff. That's, why we use that envelope, or we have it right here. So, okay. So the next step is going to be using the modulation section, talking about this. And now, again, it looks challenging, like the rest of the software or the rest of the synthesizer, but it's really not. It's super simple to use.